set.
Great.
Awesome. Okay, welcome everybody. This is Manhattan Community Board 1. This is our executive committee meeting. It is December 15th. Happy holidays to all. And we've got a nice tight agenda and then an announcement to make. So I'm going to start with announcements. Now let's hit the agenda. Let's go through and then I'll do announcements. All right. Lucian, do you have the agenda that you can put up?
I do.
That would be amazing. Fantastic. So we've been talking a lot about the impacts of local law 114 for open restaurants. Lucian has shared some of the committees that have reported in. I believe, Lucian, you got that emailed out to everybody today, right?
Well, I requested updates from everybody, and I have the link here for everybody. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Please
so we can follow along.
Great. So Alice and I think Betty and I were fortunate enough to go to the Open Streets presentation by DOT this week. They had one yesterday. They have another one coming up tomorrow. I'm hoping to get the video of yesterday's and hopefully tomorrow's as well to share with the board. I think before we pass a resolution, everyone should super watch this, because what I found amazing is we're really looking at local law 114 and the possibilities for open restaurants, but much like other presentations we've gotten from DOT, which were very restrictive to where a city bike is going here, where the bike lane connections are on maybe one street or two streets, but never looking at a holistic image or photo. The presentation was really very holistic, and what we would like to do is we plan to send a letter, email, however it works, over to DOT to ask them to come in January for a dedicated understanding of how their whole process of what they're looking to put together will affect specifically targeting Community Board 1. So we can opine on that in a really robust way. When you looked at what they're calling their New York City Streets plan for their listening session, there's a ton of information there. And unless you really take a look at the whole picture, quite frankly, just carving out open restaurants without looking at the breadth of everything that they're looking to do and understand the possibilities, like green streets, which we are so looking for, and other things, I think we do ourselves a disservice for the public engagement. So if there are no objections to that, and I'm really sort of frustrated that we didn't have a presentation that looked like this for CB1 that was as encompassing. So if there is no objections, what I'd like to do about the discussion is say if anybody, one, has gone to that, two, if you agree with this path, then we would do a resolution in January after DOT has presented in transportation. We would do the resolution in executive, bringing everything we've learned from everything together to that meeting, and then send it to our newly elected officials who are now then in office. I open it to the floor for comments.
Good idea.
I think it's a great idea.
Sounds good to me.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Do we know if we're still going to be remote in January?
Well, as of right now, the law only goes till January 15th. Tomorrow at Borough Board meeting, we'll be passing a Manhattan Borough Board resolution requesting that it's extended through December of 2022. So stand by. I believe it will be just exactly like the last one was, where we ended up in person for 2 weeks and then the legislature decided to extend it. So I would counsel people to be very well prepared with their masks and their vax cards for wherever we will be from January 15th until the law gets passed.
Well, for those of us who have special circumstances, we'll take it offline.
Correct.
Yeah,
the only thing, remember, we will be doing hybrid, but the way the law works, you will not be vote eligible unless you're in person. So I encourage you, even if you're not able to vote and you're a board member, the two things that we have to make sure we have are quorum and public engagement. So shy of that, we'll see where we can go. Anything else?
If I could make a push to have it be what we have now when we're all, I mean, remote, because I think that with Omicron, it's just not safe. I can't tell you how in the past 2 weeks since Thanksgiving, I have heard now of 4 people who've been boosted and have COVID. They're fine, but they're boosted and have COVID.
When I was tested today, he said 30 to 40% of the waiting.
Oh my, I mean, yeah, so, I mean, I just ask you to pay attention. I mean, I know it's not your call, but I throw that out.
I cannot even begin to 100% tell you how supportive I am of that. I have to go get my kids tested tomorrow for reasons I don't need to declare. I'm waiting to hear what the school comes back and says. My husband went and got his booster. He feels like hell today. Just saying.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's
But yeah, no, it's horrifying. But anyhow, sorry, that was my digression.
I have another question. So I'm sorry, I was ignoring you at the beginning. I have heard what you were saying. So my committee, Quality of Life, we had the discussion, but unfortunately I did not send in a written list solution. I have my list here with me. I will send it in to him. So how are we going to handle it if we haven't?
So here's what, unfortunately, Pat, I sat in on a listening session for the New York Streets Plan.
I mean, I started listening to that, and I was in the middle of doing something else, first precinct business, so I couldn't listen to the whole thing.
So I'm asking if we can get a copy of it, and I'm sure Betty and Lucian will help us with that. We want a copy of that recording, and I would encourage everybody on the board to listen to it because it was so comprehensive, and it put things into a different perspective. I don't think I would have changed anything on the vote that we did already about the law, but it calls into question even more so for me the opportunity for other things based on that presentation. So I really think it's important that everybody watch it. So we're going to try and see if we can get it squared away for everyone. I'm walking down the street in Tribeca today, and I'm looking at a couple restaurants that had closed. But their sheds are still up in the sidewalk. And I'm thinking to myself, imagine if it was like a hardware store and there was like a painting lesson class in a shed out front. Imagine if it was a kid's store and they could expand and do arts on the street. Imagine what you would be able to do if it wasn't just straight cafe. So when you look at the streets plan of what they're looking for and the discussion of delivery zones and bike paths and dealing with electric, I was a little confused because they were talking about bus lanes, truck lanes, car lanes, electric vehicle lanes, not meaning electric cars, but scooters and electric bicycles, and then human powered. So there are no places in Community Board 1 that you can have a 5-lane road. So I'm really curious how that's going to happen. Maybe it's about turning some streets into priorities for one and not the other. Betty, any thoughts on that? I know you're there.
No, I do suspect that is kind of what they mean because we already have truck routes. We already have bus routes. Those need to stay the way they are. Micromobility, they've also said things such as some streets in the past that they don't belong on some streets, but they belong on other streets instead. So I don't think they mean everything on every road because they know there isn't the space for that.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
I just put it's all on their website. It's really pretty clear for the New York City Streets Plan. So just so everyone has it, you can just, go to that link and you get all the information, including the registry for the Zoom if you're interested tomorrow night, 6 to 8, and also the recording for it. So we don't have to Yeah.
There is a recording for it.
There will be, yeah, I don't know if, I mean, clearly, sure, of
I'm
course.
sorry, Tammy, though, you didn't answer. So should I send the list in or should I wait till after I've reviewed the?
Send the list that you have, listen to the recording, make sure everybody in your committee listens to the recording, and then update the list accordingly, and we'll do it in January. I
Okay.
think we really have a great opportunity to change our sidewalks as an entirety to be something really accessible. And if you're already going into the street bed, let's move the signs. I mean, let's shoot for the highest thing. So when we're talking clear path means clear path. It does not include cobbles. It does not include street signs. I mean, so many things that we could work with based on what you hear and where they're going. Having electric charging stations, that's going to be in the roadbed. Great. Maybe there should be electric charging stations for scooters. And maybe there should be other things that are tempered in with many other businesses. And that's kind of where we're going to really try and transform the city. So I think it's imperative that we listen to that recording.
Yeah, one of the most interesting things that we learned, which I thought was fascinating, is many people on this, was somebody who was speaking up on behalf of the, folks, vendors, and the idea that these spaces on the roadbed could certainly be for vendors or for trucks. And it came to my mind how potentially discriminatory putting just restaurants in these spaces are, because of course it assumes a certain income bracket that can afford to sit down in a very expensive restaurant. In fact, I looked up the average price of restaurants in New York right now are $48.75 per person as of 2020. So for a family of four, you're looking at hundreds of dollars. So the point being that there's a lot here that more than meets the eye, and I think we could come up with other suggestions. But that point was, I thought, really very profound, which was that you're losing space to potentially much more affordable activities in a public space. So just keep it in mind. It's on my list.
It was also interesting to hear what people who attended from other boroughs and neighborhoods had to say. So it was, I thought, fairly illuminating. All right.
You'll raise that at our big meeting. You'll tell everybody, right?
Absolutely. And actually, the link that Alice just shared, we're going to share with the full board prior to as well as a summary from today. All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to jump in and add or say regarding this topic? Hearing none, let's rock on. So there's a resolution. Lucian, please drop it. It's a draft that we are working on that has come from the work that the community board has done already about discussions for diversity, inclusion, and equity. The Manhattan Borough President had a very nice seminar, but it was done once. There was no recording, and there was no ability to, share the information post. So what we're looking to do is go forth with the new Manhattan Borough President and say to them, let's see what's on here after. Lucian, where's the rest? Can you drop the reso?
Yeah. I have to put it in the public folder, and then I'm going to pull it up. So everyone on the website, on our live.mcb1.nyc, we always put the draft resolutions there. There's a link for it. There's also a link for the draft resolutions on our main website. So if you want, there's one link to it there, and I'll put the other one up on the screen right now. So you have an option if you want to follow along, putting one with whatever I share.
And
I'm putting that up now.
Thank you. And for 2022, we will have that information as part of the holding slide before the meeting starts. So everybody can follow the link and we'll copy it into the chat. Okay. So the training to have it professionally done is quite expensive, as people can imagine. Due to that, we'd like the Manhattan Borough President's Office to facilitate, organize, and do what they do great with training. It's really basically this. So you can read along about our comments that we've garnered throughout the year. And it's very simple that we are requesting that the Office of the Borough President sponsor and require the diversity, equity, and diversity, inclusion, equity training to be part of the required in-service learning for all community board members and other appointees of that office. Any questions?
No, excellent. Great job. I'm really happy to see this happening.
Yeah. I was excited that Gail got something really well done and well figured out. I was sad that it couldn't be more robust. We do have board members who work during the day. We have board members who work during the evenings. So we do need to be able to provide a variety of different options for them. Do I hear any other comments, questions, concerns?
Tammy, so I missed part of what you said. Sorry, I'm doing something as I'm standing here. But were you saying that possibly having it be recorded so that people could listen to it at their own time because people work and have different times of being able to do it? That, yeah, if that's perfect, if that's possible.
Absolutely. Let's put that in there.
That would be great.
Yep. We can put that in as a
Therefore, yeah, maybe so people could then, especially if you're making it mandatory,
absolutely.
people then can do it at their own time and go back and refer to it, because that was such an amazing training.
It was really good, and it would be a great resource for everybody. I was very frustrated. I was delighted and frustrated at the same time. Great to be there. Sad I couldn't share it with everybody else.
I thought they said, though, that the reason they weren't disseminating it to everyone was because it was the work product of the facilitator.
That is true, but the facilitator did not agree to be recorded. And
That's true. But I think it's good if you pay for it, they'll agree to be recorded. I think it costs more. I think that's the issue.
Absolutely. It costs, because it's licensing and it's, that kind of stuff. So yeah. They were supposed to send around some of the slides and the worksheets because that was something that she had approved, but that has not happened. Not that it won't, but not as of yet. We'll be asking tomorrow. Okay, anybody else have anything else?
On this topic or another topic?
This topic, and if nothing, can I get a call to question?
Call the question.
All right, we're going to go by affirmation. So if I don't hear anything, otherwise I will assume that those who are in the room present are a yes. Do I hear any no's? Do I hear any abstentions? Do I hear any recusals? Great, motion passes. I love a fast meeting. Okay, let's do.
I'm sorry, the Borough Board meeting is open to all of us, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where can we find the link to attend it?
On the Manhattan Borough President site, and she live streams it as well.
Okay, great.
Accurate, because I know I've been asking about that over the last few months, is to make that link public. Is Lucian on? Yeah, Lucian, were you able to confirm that in fact now that isn't just a Facebook link, which was, Pat, you asked a good question. Months ago, I tried to get on and I continued to try to get on, and it was never really actually identified on their website. And I spoke with them about it and I learned that it was on FaceTime, which I don't do. But I'm just curious, Lucian, I know we looked into that. Were you able to confirm that we can now just somehow get on the Manhattan Borough President's website and get on that way?
And if we can, maybe you could just send it to us in an email.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get the direct link to their Zoom and put an email to you.
Great, thank you.
That might be easier way. I'm not sure.
Okay, so there's another thing. Before we go to committee highlights, I want to make an announcement. We were reached out by, the city has another application that will go to PDC regarding the borough-based jails. I'm a little frustrated because they had an opportunity to come to us to either announce it when they were here with us at land use this month. They did not. they had opportunities, they could have come to a meeting, but we have a requirement for notice. They were perfectly willing to come tonight, but we didn't have enough notice to be able to give to the public. Without notice to the public, there's absolutely no way that I'm letting that one slide. So I'm announcing today, we asked them to come and be to the full board and do the presentation at the full board, because it's about the artwork at the building, and we asked them to push back so they wouldn't go to PDC January 18th. They declined and said they're planning on going to PDC anyway. So if we do not have them come, then we have nothing to say. I don't think it's fair. We can't put it tomorrow into quality of life. There's not enough time. It belonged in Waterfront Parks and Cultural, and they didn't come to us to do that. They didn't say anything in land use. So I don't think it's actually a proper opportunity to put that on Betty in transportation on Monday. So because that could be a potential hot button item, I am going to change up how we do the full board. I'm going to have them come and present. I'll run it as a public hearing right afterwards with questions back and forth, and then we'll close it, which will mean that the public session, based on our dialogue tonight about committee highlights, I'm hoping will not be more than 15 to 20 minute stops. And so we will give the city an opportunity to present. They will be on a timer for no more than 10 minutes to present on this, and then we'll do Q&A for 40 with them as a public hearing, close it, and then do a resolution as new business and move on with the board meeting. Anybody have any questions on that?
So this is artwork?
Yep.
And it's going to
Yep.
PDC because it's not temporary.
Yeah, not temporary. They'll be moving it from its original location and then placing it someplace else. Unclear as to where at this point. We requested the materials to be sent to us well ahead of time so we could send those to all the members for at least over the weekend to review. So I'm not sure exactly where, but our guess is that perhaps it'll be somewhere in the district, or it could be warehoused and then placed back on the new MDC once it's constructed. So those are my two best guesses.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So does anybody else have any questions on that? And if anybody in the public has questions and you're an attendee, please raise your hand.
They presented this last night at land use, and we're asking. No,
No.
they didn't. Okay, I was-
They did not.
No, and to be clear, it's the Department of Cultural Affairs is the presenter and applicant, I believe.
So they have not presented it anywhere, Justine, and that's my issue with it. And where we work on for public engagement and have worked really hard to not have things slide into agendas with less notice than we would like, which for the full board, it's a 72-hour notice for board members of things on the agenda. We try and roll that same way for all committee meetings as a level of public engagement and transparency. Since they missed waterfront, they didn't mention it at land use, and there's no way for us to do it without notification. The next possible meeting is either transportation on Monday or full board. And at that point, since we're talking about the borough-based jails and it's a PDC application, and it would have normally gone to Waterfronts, Parks and Cultural or land use, let's just put it at the full board. I'm not going to do that. Betty doesn't need that aggravation on her head for that part of the meeting. All right. I see no questions. Cora, do you have anything you want to add? I see you out there. You can unmute Cora. I'll assume no because she doesn't. Oh, hi, Cora.
I did notice that BBJ, the Manhattan Detention Center, show up on your agenda. So I actually also was trying to find out how they prepare for this public meeting as well. So I will bring the question back.
They have not prepared for anything. Quite frankly, I don't know if you were at land use, but they came to the land use meeting. They did not include all of the required elements that we needed to be able to make a decision on PDC on the Sally Port, let alone providing any kind of robust public engagement. So it's, yeah, I'll just leave it there.
I guess it's the transition.
No,
No, you don't think so?
no. I think it's what it's always been.
That I cannot comment.
Yes,
Okay.
I know.
But I'll find out more.
Thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
With that, let's go committees, and we'll start with Susan first.
I have something just to share with everybody. We have a real dilemma on an application at 293 Church Street. And it is very contentious, and we have made them come back, and they're coming back again in January. And 3 members of the community is very hostile to this bar opening up. And I am in a quandary because I think that we don't have a right to say he can't open if we put down all these stipulations that we require for his opening. But it is, I have another month to go through this, but if anybody has any suggestions, I'm open because it's really, Pat knows.
I was going to
it's
say, I mean, you're being really nice about it. The community is adamant that they do not want this bar to open. He is also mixed up and mired in lawsuits that we don't have anything to do with, but it is part of the whole mishigash that's going on with this thing. So I don't know. I mean, I felt like when we were in the meeting that we had our hands tied behind our backs. I don't
Can
know how we should
one of you
proceed.
give a little bit of I happened to go by there 2 days ago. I shared with, I think Susan, you got that email with a community member who doesn't understand why they can't open. In fact, he's on the other side of this. And by chance, I went by there because they had these incredible looking croissants in the window. And so I went in and I get a whole tour of the
That's what he's
space.
doing. He's buying the community with baked
I
goods. He's-
know. I totally read it for 2 seconds and he was schmoozing me all over the place. It was, I got it. But on the other hand, he's pointing out that he's putting in all the sound stuff. I knew nothing about the application, of course, but I did want to kind of better understand, what's the argument on the other side. I understand Apex Gallery doesn't want it because he's been a terrible neighbor and he's had
Noise.
parties. But if he's signing some sort of, can he sign a memorandum of understanding that he won't do these parties or
doesn't mean
something that,
anything.
that doesn't work? Or I don't know.
he can sign us, we can put in stipulations.
Yeah.
We can, but
It doesn't mean
remember
anything.
something, once you give someone a license, they're
Right,
gone.
yeah.
And then to get it, but if we don't give him the license, if we don't set up something with stipulations, the SLA will do whatever the hell they
Well,
want.
is there
Well,
someone
that's-
besides Apex that's like upset about this, Susan? Is it be just that gallery owner?
It's
No, it's
him
the
and
neighbors
it's a couple
involved.
of others, and they and some neighbors who feel they haven't been
Well, that he hasn't been honest with them.
Yes, who
So the
hasn't
neighbors
been
involved,
honest
the
with
neighbors
this.
next door, I think it's the neighbors on both sides, feel that he has had these private parties, they have made noise, they have not honored their good neighbor policy. And I mean, it just seems, as Susan said, once we give, so once we give them the license
Yeah.
in licensing, and then if the neighbors have quality of life issues, they come to quality of life. But it doesn't really, we can't really revoke their license. When they come back to us to get a renewal, there may be a little bit of power that we have if, neighbors have turned out. I don't know, Susan. I don't know.
He
I
made it
don't know
clear that he's
anything
going to
about-
open with or without a license. I mean, he's not going to serve liquor if he can't get a license, obviously, or at least that's what he said. But he said, you're not going to stop me from opening my business. I will be opening a business here. So if people just are upset that he's opening up a business there, they've lost that fight already.
Well, the business is that he has agreed to do beer and wine. Remember, he's come through with a variety of things, and you know, they're so adamant, and there was an owner before the original partner pulled out. But anyway, I would urge you all to go by 293 Church and just go look. I have not done it. I can barely get myself together to do it, but I will go by. But it's a dilemma for us. I want you to know that.
How did the committee vote?
No, we didn't vote. We did nothing. I keep putting it off, Tammy. I mean, I feel like a jerk, but I don't know what to
Third
do.
time he
When
came.
is he opening?
Pardon me?
When is he opening?
Well, he's gonna wait now. What he's done is, I'm sorry, Susan.
Go on.
This is the third time that he has come before the committee. He was threatening to go to the SLA. We had a conversation. Susan, who's great at this, kind of talked him off the ledge. He said he would come back for the fourth time to licensing next month. But in the meantime, he is quasi-opened. Again, he's smoozing everybody with coffee and Danish in the front of the restaurant, and trying to get this liquor license from us while these court cases are also going on simultaneously.
So my preference is to limit his license and set it up in such a way and vote on it and understand and state in the resolution about the committee and the community and whatever, but put very stringent rules on him and vote it and bring it to the board. And then we're going to have to see where it goes. I don't know any other way.
I actually, if we say nothing and do nothing, we have no place to go.
That's correct.
Right? This is a man who clearly wants to open a business. We need businesses downtown. We may not, again, as has been said, Mariama said, you lost the fight. He has a lease. He's already operating. So let's work on a good neighbor policy. Let's establish some guide rails and guardrails and see. He can come back to us in 6 months. If he gets beer and wine now, he can come back in 6 months.
Well, it's a wonderful thing that happens, and then I'm done. The hotel in Tribeca, we set up some very stringent rules and whatever. We're not giving them roof access or whatever. So we got a letter from Vigiano who says, oh, we didn't quite understand what you were doing, and we'd like to change, and we'd like to do this and that and the next thing, and we need to do the roof. And I said to Jen, just tell him the board voted. He's finished for 6 months. Nothing's going to happen, because that's our only clap. We put it in, we set it up, but they always want to take the next step and push and push and push.
Whatever was said in committee, whatever was voted on in committee is how that resolution needs to read for whatever it is. If he wants to speak during the public session, they want to make a case, and somebody wants to bring a friendly amendment for a change, we'll deal with it at full board. But what goes to full board as the resolution is exactly what was recorded and voted on, and nothing more.
Yeah, but I'm not changing, and somebody else is asking to change that resolution. We're not going to do it. That's a different one. We have a number of cases. That's it. I have no more to say. It's a pain in the neck.
Susan, you might be going first. Just saying.
It's okay.
All right, moving on from Susan, we'll go to Alice, and after Alice, we'll do Betty and Pat, even though your meetings have not met, and then we'll do Jason, Patrick, and Tricia if she's back. Oh, and Paul. Okay.
Oops. Sorry. I think I wrote all the folks most about this, just to be reminded that the 5 World Trade Center findings of no significance on the environmental assessment. There's a comment period to talk about what, if anything, you feel is missing from this or is, should be included. And if you look at it, Diana sent it around, I think, to everyone, or will. It's an opportunity to comment on what, and these are huge quality of life issues. This has everything to do with, air quality to noise to the rest, to everything, urban design. So just, you might want to review the chapters that are, germane to your particular committee's interests and purview, and go ahead and write your comments and give them to Diana prior to January 24th, which is when the Environmental Protection Committee will write and vote on the resolution. So basically, just please go ahead and take a look. And if you have any comments on the environmental assessment of the site at 5 World Trade Center, go ahead and write them down and send them in. Thanks. That's it.
Awesome. Next. So next. Don't be shy, jump in. The water's fine.
Betty and then me.
Sure. Anything,
Betty?
Betty, that's going to be hot topic?
Not that I expect. It's really finishing up stuff that was not contentious last month, just to finish it off, so.
Perfect. Pat?
So I brought this up at my committee meeting, and now it has to come here to executive committee meeting. I don't think we talked about it last month. So normally what happens is the Quality of Life Committee meets the Thursday after the executive committee, which meets on Wednesday. And it is because we meet after Tammy goes to Borough Board, she doesn't have the information coming out of Quality of Life. So we would like to switch the Quality of Life meeting to Wednesday and the executive committee meeting to Thursday. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes, understand what we want to do? So we need to know from everyone on the executive committee. Tammy, first of all, you were going to let me know whether that was going to be a
I thought
problem.
you were moving to the first Thursday of the month.
I'm sorry?
I thought you were moving to the open date the first Thursday of the month.
No, we were going to switch between Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were moving to the first Thursday, and then
No.
we were.
So that would we're just going to switch the 2 days, Wednesday to Thursday, which I had said to you then would mean that you would be going to the Borough Board the day after we met. So I need to know from you if that works for you, and I need to know from the executive committee if people have problems meeting on a Thursday instead of a Wednesday. And you don't have to tell me at this moment. You can think about it. We weren't going to do it. If we were going to switch, we weren't going to do it until January.
But it will be specifically the third Thursday, right?
It
Yeah.
would be the third. We would meet the third Wednesday instead of the third
Right,
Thursday.
okay.
I'll
First-
just remark that I've never seen an executive committee meeting so well attended as this one. So you're going to have really all the voices to really weigh into it. Save Tricia, who's at her daughter's 18th birthday party. So yay!
Yeah.
Hey, her daughters are twins, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Twins.
whoops.
Yeah. So seriously, speak up. If you aren't comfortable speaking up, I can certainly send around a doodle poll that says vote Wednesday, vote Thursday. That way you don't have to have the where you are today. It doesn't really make a difference. And then for you, Pat, you're sure everyone would rather from your committee be not the
No one's
first.
spoken up, and I told them if they had a problem to send an email to Lucian and I. So far, no one has spoken up. I will, tomorrow night, I will ask again, because if this is going to happen, it will not take effect until next month.
I mean, from my perspective, I'm on both. I have to show her both, so I don't care which is which.
That's how I feel also.
Same.
You know,
I'm
Mary Ellen.
committee, and it's
Yeah,
the same for me.
Good with
Same.
Thursday too.
Awesome.
Not
But
all
some
this
people on the
fall, that
exec may
category.
have a problem with the Thursday, so you have to let Lucian know. And Tammy, then you have to let me know if it works for you.
I always prefer to have executive be the last committee before full board. And then that way it gives everybody, we know whose resolutions are missing. We know what's happening. We get a really good full picture of what we're looking into going into full board. That's always been my preference. It's not ideal not having executive until after borough board, but there's so many boards in Manhattan that have different schedules that it's really immaterial. doesn't make a difference. It's been a nice convenience for me, but let's be honest, it's not about me. It's about what's going to work for everybody else. And I think it's going to be more important to be able to go into borough board having had quality of life, which is such a big topic always in our community, represented. So I can say we have a resolution that passed last night and is going to full board on this. And that's always, you know, to talk about the hottest topics and see where you can get connection with the other community boards is one of the most powerful tools we have as we're sitting there in the morning. So yeah, I'm fine.
All right, so people on exec, it's up to you then. If you have a problem, let me know.
Alrighty, moving
Thank you.
on. Next committee chair, who wants to jump in? I've got Paul, I've got Patrick, and Jason.
And me.
And you, Justin.
I'll jump in, Tammy. Nothing of note for us.
That was easy.
And same for Waterfront. We had a very nice presentation. They're opening for the winter starting on Friday. They're going to have a big skating rink. And presumably Sarah from the Governor's Island group will be there to present. So I may not have to say anything if she gives her a presentation, but it's all great news.
Perfect. Yeah, you guys were done so fast, I almost passed out. I tuned in at 6:35 and you were gone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well,
Tip of the hat, tip of the hat.
there's
Happens. I like
nothing to
that.
argue about, that's for sure.
All right, Justin.
Tammy, really quick, I just want to point to everyone in the chat. Cora Fung did some heroic work and found the link to register for the Zoom for Borough Board this Friday. And so she sent me the link. It's now in the chat. And
Thank you, Cora.
I'm done. Yeah, thanks, Cora.
So I'm quick. We have two resolutions that we're hoping to push forward. I don't think they're too contentious because one of them we've done, I think this will be the third or fourth time we've done it, asking for a resident majority on the Battery Park City Authority Board. Tammy, you had said to me that you have a few friendly amendments. We'll deal with that at the meeting. The other one is to ask for Community Board 1 being involved in discussions for the next formulation of the Joint Purpose Fund targets for how the money from the Battery Park City Authority is spent. And again, that was, I think we were, everything was positive. We had one abstention for each reso. So I don't think that should be too contentious. What was interesting and we need more information on was the prohibition of co-op conversions in Battery Park City. We couldn't get that to resolution because we found out that we need more information. So Lucian was going to help us out and we're going to see who we're going to be able to bring in and maybe, so that's more work. And then what turned out to be contentious, which I don't know if it's going to be contentious at the meeting, is the temporary relocation of the Battery Park City art. And
we have a letter from the Battery Park City Authority. So, and yours is only a report. It's not a resolution.
oh yeah, I don't even have to say anything about it except that we talked about it and you know whatever.
And all you need to do is update the letter that we received from Eric Munson. So that's fine.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's it.
Jason.
Hi guys. I honestly don't even remember the address of the application we saw. It's been a long week. It feels like Friday or Thursday already. But it wasn't contentious, and I think it was some sort of a storefront, and we all liked it, and I'm going to write a favorable resolution.
Perfect. All right. Who's next?
Do you want me to go, Patricia?
Absolutely.
Wendy?
Thank
I think it'd be really quick. The main, I guess the main contention at the meeting was New Street, which is in back of LMC. A lot of parents came to the meeting, and there was, sorry, my family's in the background if you can hear them. So basically what's happening is New Street, which has always been a terribly big, busy street, now there are 4 schools and sometimes 5 schools emptying into that area. And there's also a lot of construction happening at 1 Wall Street, I believe is the address. There's a Whole Foods going in there and other commercial buildings. And I guess the volume of traffic on New Street is getting worse and worse. So the principal and a lot of parents came to the meeting to ask for a resolution to close that street for 1 hour, 3 times a day, when the kids come in, during lunch, and when they leave. So I think wide agreement from a broad community that that makes sense. I was surprised that the Downtown Alliance kind of put in a question there, but hopefully, you know, that they won't come out against it. And then there's an officer from Homeland Security who seems to have a hard time understanding it, but hopefully he'll come around on that front. But that's what the resolution is about. I think everyone's on board and it makes a lot of sense. So hopefully that's good.
You're on mute.
Say that, Tammy, again.
Did Homeland Security say you can't?
They didn't say we couldn't. They just were very against restricting any access. And the principal assured them that if there was ever a delivery that was so important that needed to come in or out, there will be a phone number there that they could call and arrange a special delivery during one of those 3 hours if it had to happen. And so hopefully we'll just connect the dots. But, you know, he seemed just, he came to the last meeting too. And I don't understand why he didn't connect, but hopefully that he will and he'll get comfortable with this.
Okay, interesting. All right, cool. Have I hit everybody? I hear no questions. Is there anything else that anyone wants to bring up? Okay. Hearing nothing, I'm appointing Mimi and Pat in charge of a holiday get-together to be determined sometime in Q1 based on COVID protocols and what happens. I leave it completely up to you. Mariama has helped in the past. Or Francis has helped in the past. I don't care who you want to drag in. It's up to the two of you to figure it out. Okay? That is one positive and happy and fun thing. Secondarily, if you were on the mailing list, you would have seen today the announcement from Senator Kavanaugh on the 250 Water Street Environmental and Construction Task Working Group. That will be done with CB1. If you are other than Alice Blank, who is automatically on that, and you would like to participate on behalf of CB1 in this working group, please email Lucian in the office. I see Pat's hand up already because she will be construction, I am sure. And if anybody else would like to, please email Lucian in the office. It will get kicked off in January. So, and the way working groups and task forces work on a community board level, obviously transparency and engagement are cornerstones. It is a one-year thing from January to January.
I didn't realize that was open, so I know Jason Friedman expressed interest to me. So
Perfect.
Jason, if you're still here. But anyway, I have to go. Happy holidays. Thank you. See you at the board meeting. Thanks so much.
Yeah, Tammy, one thing that I'd like to just to announce to everybody is if you want to have the ability to do remote meetings past January 15th, please on an individual basis, reach out to all of our elected officials, whether you're represented by Deborah Glick, Yulie New, Senator Kavanaugh, and the governor. Please reach out and say that you want to support Yulene's bill. Her bill, I think, is the best. You can also say, either her or Kavanaugh or some mix in between, but definitely let Yuline and Deborah and Senator Kavanaugh know on an individual basis that you want to keep doing remote meetings, because there are people who are advocating against it.
Huh.
Hey, Lucian, could you bring that up at the full board and then put the link to how we can email that live during our meeting? Or
Absolutely, that's a great idea. I'll
so it's
put
like
it as
in
part
the
of my
moment.
DM report. Yeah.
Yep, and Lucian, do me a favor. We can really do this cleanly and simply, and if everybody's down for it, we could do a new business vote and resolution immediately.
At the beginning, while they're all still there, so they could hear us.
that.
All right, so I still have quorum, so let's roll. It's real simple. It's that we support this as Community Board 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're doing affirmation, are there any no's?
I'm sorry, before you don't need to say a little bit more than just we support this?
Yulene's bill in particular?
To extend it, you said to the end of 2022, right?
Her bill has an extension and everything in it. We will send around the link to the bill and everything in it so you can see if there's any changes you want to make other than we support this. You can make it at the full board. How's that? Does that work? I know that's a little on the shady side, or we can do it as a resolution at full board. Your call. We already have new business because of the city and the artwork. You want to do it there?
I just thought maybe we support this because of, you know.
Yeah.
but
We've
whatever.
already gone on record with our because the first time
Okay.
to get it
Yeah.
extended.
I think it's pretty clean right now, especially since Cornell and NYU and every other place is shutting down.
Closed, yeah. I think it's pretty safe.
Lucian?
Let's just do it now. It'll take 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So yeah, I vote to do it now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Lucian, you ready?
I'm looking.
There we go. And I'm actually going to take a look and see what the resolution for borough board is because we have one tomorrow too.
Anybody drop off? That's all I'm just looking at. See anybody. Hold on, Gio. Hold on.
Just
See if anyone
Alice.
just
Can I
dropped
ask
off.
you a question while we're
Maybe
waiting?
just Alice.
Did you ever hear
Yeah, I think
back
Alice is all.
anything on the changes they made to 250 water that they sent back to city planning?
There really,
share that
yeah, there really wasn't
information.
anything. There wasn't really much in the resolution that was passed at a committee. And I looked back, they just updated some dates. So if there was something more substantial than that, then they didn't put that on the Legistar for me to download.
Lucian, if you want to let me screen share, I can screen share the Manhattan Borough Board resolution, or I can copy it and add it to the document.
Yeah, let me. I'll give you the screen share.
Screen two. There, that's one. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, you need to make it a little bigger. Please. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is going to, I assume, pass heartily tomorrow morning at Borough Board. And it goes through all the whereases, about the makeup of our community boards, who the board president is, the timeline with Cuomo, June and July with the CBs, and what has happened to them. The onset with the Delta variants, and now with the Omicron variant. Open meeting laws, also known as sunshine, and that they're outdated. Therefore, be it resolved that in the interest of public health, the Manhattan Borough Board supports extending the executive order to allow virtual meetings in lieu of in-person meetings. Moreover, the Manhattan Borough Board supports amending the open meetings law to allow New York City community boards to permanently hold virtual and/or hybrid meetings, since the intent of the legislation can be complied with.
Yes, I love it.
I have a question though. I'm sorry, and maybe because I can't really see it and read it, it's too small. Does this mean that we would be able to do just as we are now? We'd be able to vote?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's what we need. We want to be able to vote. And then I love the fact that permanently hold virtual or hybrid, which would give us the ability, hopefully the hybrid even gives us the ability to vote.
Exactly.
That's what I
the-
mean. We want to make sure
Yeah.
any circumstance that we not only count toward quorum, but that we also can vote.
Yes.
Can I
It's-
make a suggestion too? Since we keep talking about equity, the reality is one of the lessons learned, it certainly is because of disease and all that's important, but one thing that's been learned consistently is that people with disabilities and other infirmities have found a way of participating, and to take it away now seems kind of ridiculous when we're trying to get more voices, not fewer.
There's not 1,000 words that I could say that to support that enough. I mean, quite frankly, the amount of engagement we've had in the last year and a half has been fantastic. The opportunity to have a community board meeting with 150 people at it is overwhelming, but it's manageable. So any way that we can include hybrid going forward to the future is the goal. We have a team who can figure it out. all of us at this point now have figured out how to work on Zoom, have worked on WebEx. I think,
Yeah.
if you had asked me January 2020, I would have told you that's never happening. But literally, with Lucian and I and Diana and Lucy calling board members, teaching them how to get online, how to walk them through, and how to help them, and working on the audio problems and every upgrade, I think it's been just brilliant. And it's
And
something.
also having hybrid where the votes count. And
Yes.
quorum counts if they happen to be remote and they may have different reasons for doing it.
Yeah, it also
Not
opens
only
up.
that, it's also allowed, so we each have 2 committees that we're assigned to, but it's allowed us to go to all of the committee meetings so that we don't have to sit in full board meeting and discuss all of these things that we're interested in, but we were never able before to attend all the meetings and listen to.
Exactly.
That's right. And it saved a lot of time because when you say to somebody, you can, if you want to know about the topic, it's not to be, redo the full presentation at the full board, go to the meeting. Whereas before that was a bit of a schlep. Now you can sign in from home and it's all recorded anyway. So if you want to watch it to catch up, you can. I mean, the amount of access to information is so different than we were in 2 years ago. It's delightful.
And I just suggest one other thing, the reference in the resolution to the number of Omicron cases seems very weak and out of date. From what I understand, there's many, many more cases that are here already and that are forecast to be coming within a week or two. I mean, I could just tell you the New York basketball teams played last night and they both had many players out because of this illness.
Yeah.
So, and it's happening to all kinds of sports teams, regardless of what sport they're in. So it's happening everywhere. So it's unfortunately a big deal.
It is. We're back again.
We're back again. The good thing is eventually with everybody getting vaxxed to the max or whatever you want to call it, it will end up being, we had, because of all the kids and all the school closures and back and forth, you got to go get tested quite often. So the doctor said to me, eventually, when everybody's boosted, it will end up being like a flu vaccine.
Yeah.
And it'll be something that happens. And if you don't get it, right, it's just it's just intense.
True, but there are a number of people who, because of the medications they take, will never get immunity and have been vaccinated. Friends of mine have had 3 rounds of it and they have no immunity.
Yeah, it's very hard. Okay, so if we're all good with this, then we're not mimicking exactly what they're doing at Borough Board. We're keeping it more tied to Assembly Member news legislation, with the thought of, in the interest of public health, we're asking them to extend the order until this legislation can be passed for permanent change. Does that work?
Yeah.
As long as you put in also maintain the ability to participate.
Yes, absolutely. Did I hear a call to question?
Call the question.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, assumably. Do I hear any no's? Do I hear any recusals? Do I hear any abstentions? Fantastic. Motion passes unanimously. With that, let's close the meeting at 7:02. I adore all of you. I cannot wait.
Tommy, did the link move for signing in? Am I crazy?
It shouldn't have. Would
No?
you like?
Okay. All right. Can we put it in the chat? Because I can't seem to get it on my phone and I want to make sure to sign in.
It's in the chat.
Okay, terrific. Thank you.
Alrighty, and if not, I'll have Lucian send it to you directly. On that note,
Me too.
thank you, everybody. I will see you next week. Have a fantastic day and night.
Guys, thanks everybody.
Good night. I'll see